432 Park Avenue rises 1,396 feet on a footprint barely 93 feet wide, a slenderness ratio of 15:1. That form exists because a midtown zoning mechanism allowed developers to stack purchased air rights into a single concrete needle. Before the first buyer moved in, wind engineers confirmed the tower would move and installed a tuned mass damper to control it. What no one could control was what that movement would do to everything inside. The physics of the tower are defined by extreme numbers. Standing 425.5 meters tall on a footprint of just 28.5 by 28.5 meters, the building possesses a 1 to 15 width to height ratio. Structural engineers classify any building with a ratio of 1 to 5 or greater as highly sensitive to wind forces, requiring advanced aerodynamic planning. At 432 Park, the slenderness is 3 times that threshold. This architectural extreme was built to serve an equally extreme economic tier. The top floor penthouse sold for $70 million. For a typical New York resident earning the median city income, acquiring that single residence would require roughly 800 years of continuous work. This convergence of unprecedented height, minimal footprint, and concentrated wealth meant that the building was pushing physical and social boundaries simultaneously long before the concrete had even cured. The tower's extreme form was the direct output of Manhattan's Midtown Special Zoning District. Developers CIM Group and Harry Macklow assembled the building's height by executing a zoning lot merger, purchasing unused air rights from surrounding properties to stack onto their tiny plot. Under city rules, mechanical and structural floors do not count toward a building's allowable floor area ratio. By packing the tower with hollow double-height mechanical voids, the developers pushed the residential units higher into the sky where views command the highest prices. This loophole maximized profit per square foot, but it also forced a massive structure onto a minimal footprint. The regulations that built the tower set the exact conditions for its physical vulnerability. Before a single resident moved in, pre-construction wind tunnel testing by RWDI identified a fundamental aerodynamic vulnerability. At wind speeds as low as 5 to 15 meters per second, the tower was highly susceptible to vortex shedding. As wind hits the square concrete profile, it slips around the corners, creating alternating low-pressure whirlpools on opposite sides. This swirling air forces the structure into a steady, side-to-side vibration perpendicular to the wind itself. To counteract these oscillations, engineers designed a massive structural pendulum. The specification called for a 1,000-ton tuned mass damper, split into 2 opposed pendulums suspended across 3 stories, needing 37 meters of potential travel to absorb the building's kinetic energy. This engineering solution was aimed at keeping top-floor acceleration below the limits of human perception. But a major distinction existed between immediate motion control and long-term material survival. While the active pendulums corrected the sway felt by occupants, they did not eliminate the underlying cyclic forces. Over months and years, this continuous low-level movement subjects the exterior concrete and reinforcing steel to millions of microscopic stress cycles, causing structural fatigue that the dampers were never designed to prevent. While engineers worked to stabilize the paper-thin design, the developers launched an aggressive campaign to monetize the project. By 2014, with the tower still under construction, buyers had underwritten 50% of the units, securing roughly $1 billion in contract bookings before a single resident moved in. By 2015, that sales figure reached 90%. To drive this momentum, developer Harry Macklow spent $1 million on a private marketing film featuring high-wire artist Philippe Petit. This cinematic short, designed to project an image of serene altitude, was screened only to ultra-high net worth prospects and never released to the public. It succeeded. The financial triumph of 432 Park Avenue was fully realized on paper long before the physical structure was forced to prove its livability. In September 2021, the condominium board filed a 43-page complaint in the New York State Supreme Court seeking $125 million in damages. The lawsuit cataloged more than 1,500 distinct construction and design defects in the building's common elements alone, calling the project one of the worst examples of sponsor malfeasance in New York City history. The documented failures fell into 3 clear categories of harm. Pervasive water leaks triggered widespread flooding across luxury unit interiors. Persistent building sway generated loud, low-frequency structural groans, vibrations that the chairman of developer CIM Group privately described in internal communications as intolerable, Residents also reported multiple safety incidents, including being trapped in stalled elevator cabs for hours. The premier address had officially transitioned from a financial triumph to an engineered crisis. The column-free interior floor plates of 432 Park Avenue forced engineers to concentrate all vertical systems inside a central concrete core. This design choice turned the elevator shafts into structural conduits highly sensitive to the building's movement. In high winds, the tower sways, causing the 11 Schindler elevator cables to experience uneven dynamic loading. This continuous shifting accelerates mechanical wear and misaligns the guide rails, triggering automatic safety shutdowns that trap passengers. Simultaneously, the extreme height produces a powerful stack effect. Wind pressure forces air through the shafts, creating severe pressure differentials, loud turbulence, and stalled elevator cars. CIM Group and Harry Macklow dismissed the lawsuit as ill-advised, publicly describing 432 Park as a treasure, while claiming the condominium board was actively blocking remediation efforts. But behind these defensive statements lay a complex, layered corporate structure that systematically diffused accountability. Ultimate liability for the construction defects ran from the developer's specific limited liability company to the general contractor Lend-Lease and down to dozens of individual subcontractors. This protective arrangement transformed the legal battle into a costly war of attrition. By 2024, the ongoing dispute had produced over 4 million pages of documentation and 45 days of deposition testimony. This massive paper trail continued to grow, leaving the building's residents trapped in an unresolved legal gridlock with no clear end in sight. In 2026, the legal battle shifted from design failure to potential fraud when a second lawsuit demanded $160 million in damages. This filing focused on the tower's white concrete facade, alleging developers concealed thousands of severe cracks from buyers during the sales campaign. The complaint asserted that these exterior cracks allowed water to penetrate the structure, corroding interior steel reinforcement and triggering internal floods. According to the filing, developers knew of the facade defects before completing construction, but actively suppressed the information to secure final sales. Consultants who raised warnings about the exterior cracking were reportedly fired, their findings withheld from prospective purchasers. The discovery of a 10-inch crack within the main concrete structure sharpened the debate, transforming the story of 432 Park from an ambitious engineering miscalculation into a calculated effort to protect profits at the expense of structural integrity. CIM Group generated an estimated $900 million in profit from a projected $3.1 billion sellout. Even amid active legal disputes, units continue to trade. When the condominium board filed suit, developer Harry Macklow called the action a scorpion biting its own back, warning that the public litigation would only depress property values. But the era of the pencil tower is ending. New York's City of Yes initiative now mandates 20% affordable housing in high-density zones, undercutting the financial feasibility of the Billionaires Row model. With no new super-tall towers planned for Midtown, 432 Park stands as the high-water mark of post-2008 capital. Today, 432 Park Avenue stands as a structural warning. As cities continue to densify with super slender luxury towers, this project proves that while capital can manipulate zoning, it cannot outrun physics. The compromise remains cast in concrete. Share your thoughts on this failure below.